Number 8. The Kennedy Family Curse. The United States doesn't have a monarchy, but the Kennedys come pretty close, as political royalty at least. Washington, D.C. had at least one Kennedy in public office for 64 years, and John F. Kennedy, the most prominent member of the family, remains one of the most lionized U.S. presidents of all time. But with the popularity came accidents, illnesses, and assassinations. Is it a curse or just bad luck? You most likely know about the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy and his brother, Robert F. Kennedy, in the 1960s. But the Kennedy family endured many more tragedies before and after their deaths, leading to the notion of the so-called Kennedy Curse. This curse refers to the many unfortunate deaths and tragic events that have all involved members of the Kennedy family of the U.S. These events date all the way back to 1944, when Joseph P. Kennedy Jr. was killed when his BQ-8 airplane exploded while flying over East Suffolk in the UK. In May of 1948, Kathleen Kennedy passed away in a plane crash in France. In 1968, U.S. Senator Robert Kennedy, the brother of the previously murdered John F. Kennedy, was assassinated at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles, California, dying the next morning. Later, in 1984, David A. Kennedy died of a drug overdose in a Palm Beach, Florida hotel room. And towards the end of 1997, Michael Lemoyne Kennedy died in a freak skiing accident in Colorado when he crashed into a tree. In 1999, John F. Kennedy Jr. perished in a plane crash over the Atlantic Ocean off of the Massachusetts coast. In 2011, Kara Kennedy experienced a fatal heart attack while she was exercising. And a year later, in 2012, Mary Richardson Kennedy committed suicide in her New York home. The most recent case related to the Kennedy curse is that of Maeve Kennedy McKean, who vanished with her young son while on a canoe trip in Chesapeake Bay. Her remains were found by a group of divers 4 days after she was reported missing. So, as you can see, the Kennedy family has some super weird juju going on. Some people have noticed the trend of both politically motivated murders and aircraft-related incidents in terms of the tragedies that have continuously impacted this prominent American family. But no one knows for sure why so many tragedies keep occurring in one family alone. Number 7. The Curse of the 27 Club. The 27 Club refers to a group of mainly famous musicians and legends who all died at the young age of 27. Many of these deaths were drug or alcohol related, but some were tragic accidents or even murder. While some people view these deaths as nothing but tragic coincidences, others speculate that there's something more sinister at play behind the large number of members and the shocking similarities that occur in some of them. The idea of the 27 Club reached peak popularity due to the 1994 death of the band Nirvana's lead singer Kurt Cobain. However, the tragic pattern dates back much further than that. The first confirmed member of the 27 Club is widely agreed upon to be blues musician and guitarist Robert Johnson. Johnson rose to fame rather quickly and recorded less than 50 songs in total. Unfortunately, he wouldn't be able to record more as he was tragically murdered via whiskey laced with poison, dying at the age of 27 in 1938. Other well-known members of the club include world-renowned rock musician Jimi Hendrix, who died after taking an unknown amount of strong sleeping pills. Rock and soul singer-songwriter Janis Joplin passed away in a Hollywood hotel room after an accidental overdose on drugs. And famous British pop star Amy Winehouse, who died due to alcohol poisoning in her home in 2011. No one knows for certain if these deaths are merely coincidences or if there is a link between them. But overall, the 27 Club has around 67 confirmed members. Number 6. The Curse of King Tut's Tomb. In ancient Egypt, it was common knowledge among people that the curse of the pharaohs would fall on anyone who opened up a tomb of one of the mummified royals. But this didn't stop an archaeologist named Howard Carter and his team from searching for and eventually opening the tomb of King Tut, one of Egypt's most famous ancient rulers. The curse states, "All people who enter this tomb, who will make evil against this tomb and destroy it. May the crocodile be against them in water, and snakes against them on land. May the hippopotamus be against them in water, the scorpion on land. Shortly after the tomb was opened and excavated, bad luck and unfortunate events began to fall on both Carter and his team, as well as those who had been associated with the expedition in any way. Firstly, Carter's pet canary was killed and eaten by a king cobra, which many took as an omen that the curse had been unleashed and more horrible events were to follow, seeing as the snakes were a symbol of Egypt's monarchy. Lord Carnarvon, who had been a big sponsor and supporter of Carter's tomb dig, later died by blood poisoning when he was bitten by a mosquito and the bite became infected. A friend of Carter's, Sir Bruce Ingham, had his house burned down twice. Altogether, 8 of those who were actually present at the opening of the tomb died sometime within 12 years after it was initially opened. Although Howard Carter himself didn't believe in the curse, the sheer amount of incidents that happened in the wake of opening King Tut's tomb seems far more than just events that happened to be circumstantial. Do you believe in the curse of the pharaohs? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're liking this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe buttons if you haven't already. Number 5. The Superman Curse. Superman is instantly recognizable and loved by people around the world, but many don't know about the darker side of this beloved character. Like the name of the curse implies, this curse is in reference to the multitude of deaths and misfortunes that have happened to people who were involved in the Superman franchise. Notably, 4 actors who portrayed the character at various points in history died in devastating and sometimes unexpected ways. Kirk Alyn played Superman in a few of the 1940s series, but his career was harmed by the role as it became extremely difficult for him to find other jobs due to how closely he was associated with the character. He eventually and sadly died after succumbing to Alzheimer's disease later on in life at age 88. Another alleged curse victim is Lee Quigley, who played baby Superman in the 1978 movie, but later died very young at age 14 due to his abuse of inhalant chemical drugs. George Reeves, who played the role in the movie Superman and the Mole Man, which was released in 1951, and later reprised the role in the TV show Adventures of Superman, was found dead from a gunshot wound to his head that was ruled a suicide by authorities. However, many people find this death in particular to be especially suspicious, considering there's little to no confirmed evidence that Reeves even used the gun, as well as suspicions that he had been in a secret relationship with the wife of a film executive named Eddie Mannix. Finally, Christopher Reeve played Superman in the original Superman film series that spanned from 1978 to 1987. Reeve ended up becoming almost completely paralyzed due to being thrown off the back of a horse in a cross-country event on May 27th of 1995. He died in 2004 at the age of 52, and both his wife and doctor believed his death happened as the result of a bad reaction to drugs, since there was never a proper autopsy done on him. Some people think that all these events are merely bad fortune, but others firmly believe that something is amiss with the franchise. Number 4. The Macbeth Curse. It's hard to imagine such a popular play by one of the most renowned and famous playwrights in all of history could have a curse tied to it. But looking at the history of Macbeth and some of the incidents that have happened surrounding it tells a different story. Macbeth was one of the many plays written by William Shakespeare, but there seems to be a reason why it's a well-known superstition amongst theater actors and those involved in the art to not say the name of the play or even speak any lines from it or make references to it in the theater. It's said that it can cause chaos to ensue during whatever show is playing in that theater. People believe this curse originated due to Shakespeare using elements of real magic and spells in Macbeth, specifically in scenes that included the Weird Sisters, 3 witch characters that make reoccurring appearances throughout the play. While it can't be completely proven that real dark magic was incorporated into the work, one thing is for certain: many tragedies and disasters have happened during showings of the play. For instance, during a 1937 production, actor Laurence Olivier was nearly crushed by a stage weight that had come loose and fallen just inches from him. Both the director and actress playing Lady Macbeth from the same show got into a car accident, and the manager of the theater the play was being performed in, Lillian Bayliss, died the night of the show's dress rehearsal. A different 1942 production from Piccadilly Theatre saw the deaths of 3 of the cast members and the costume designer. While it's unknown if this is a fact or merely a myth, even the very first performance of the play is said to have begun with tragedy, with the original actress scheduled to play Lady Macbeth supposedly dying shortly before it was to start. Today, some don't believe the play is unlucky at all, but simply think all the bad incidents are a result of how popular and constantly run the show was. But others still subscribe to the fact that Shakespeare's inclusion of spells in his writing put a curse on the show that can cause bad luck to happen to anyone involved at any time. Number 3. The Curse of the Hope Diamond. While this diamond may be beautiful and impressive, its history is not. The Hope Diamond is a giant blue gemstone that was bought at some point during the 1660s by a French jeweler dealer named Jean-Baptiste Taverny. He got the diamond on a trip to India, but much later in the 20th century, rumors began to spread that he'd taken it from a temple dedicated to one Hindu goddess, Sita, instead of purchasing it honestly. This jewel has quite the fascinating past of ownership, even being owned by King Louis XIV of France at one period in time. Little did anyone know, however, that the diamond was cursed to befall bad fortune and doom to not only its new owner, but also any person who simply laid hands on it. King Louis XIV and his wife, Marie Antoinette, were executed during the French Revolution after they owned the diamond. It also found its way into the hands of a Turkish sultan named Abdul Hamid, who lost his throne shortly afterwards. Eventually, a woman named Evelyn McLean bought the diamond after being convinced it wouldn't harm her or bring her bad luck in any way. However, this proved not to be true, as McLean's son Vincent was killed in a car accident. Her 25-year-old daughter died by suicide, and her husband went insane and was admitted into a psychiatric hospital until he later died in 1941. After Evelyn McLean's death in 1947, the diamond was again put on sale. It was acquired by a jeweler from New York named Harry Winston, who donated the gem to the Smithsonian. Today, the Hope Diamond has a home in the National Museum of Natural History in its gem and mineral collection, where anyone can go see it. But don't touch it. Number 2. The Curse of the Crying Boy Painting. When it comes to cursed objects, not many people would suspect that an innocent painting could have something sinister attached to it. But in the case of the Crying Boy, some of the circumstances surrounding this particular item and events it has seemingly caused are downright unexplainable. This painting was originally created by Italian artist Giovanni Bragolini, and the painting was mass-produced and distributed from the 1950s and on. The curse originated when a firefighter in England began to claim that he was finding copies of the painting without a scratch in houses that had been burnt to the ground. This created so much unease amongst people that it prompted mass bonfires to destroy existing copies of the artwork. Later, it was allegedly found that the paintings had been treated with fire-resistant coatings, and that in many cases, they had landed face down and been protected against the flames in the burning houses. Whether you believe that it can be explained by science or that the coincidence was just extremely eerie, many people still find this urban legend to be highly unnerving. Number 1. The Cursed Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is extremely well known in pop culture. As its name suggests, it is a triangular-shaped section of the Atlantic Ocean, and its 3 points are Miami, Florida in the west, Puerto Rico in the east, and the island of Bermuda in the north. This area is known for its mysterious and unexplainable disappearances of both ships and aircrafts. Everything from recreational vehicles to highly trained and skilled military squadrons have mysteriously disappeared within the perimeters of the triangle. The first recorded instance of strange and bizarre activity in the Bermuda Triangle came from Christopher Columbus, who reported that his ship's compass was malfunctioning and giving false readings, and that strange lights were appearing on the horizon and in the water. Since then, countless other vanishings have taken place. For example, in 1918, one of the U.S. Navy's largest ships, the USS Cyclops, disappeared without a single trace somewhere in the triangle between Chesapeake Bay and Barbados. Neither any wreckage from the ship nor any of the 300 men on board were ever found. In another incident, a group of 5 Navy bomber planes and the 14 men on board them vanished on a training mission in 1945. This group, called Flight 19, became lost when their leader's compass began to go haywire, leaving them stranded and flying around aimlessly with no way to successfully get back to their original departure city of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. All of them were never heard from again, and even the rescue plane sent out to find them disappeared in the triangle as well. No one knows for sure what causes these disappearances in this particular region of the ocean, and theories range from aliens to gravity fields and even time travel. Thanks for watching. Any famous curses you know of that I didn't cover here? Be sure to leave them in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time. Bye.